We've got another show and tell. This one's going to come to us from Washington, D.C., and we've got Jackie and Raquel. They're coming up. Oh, look at that, center aisle ready. They're ready and willing. They're going to share with us a little bit about how they do it in D.C.
Hi, guys. We get to close it. How exciting.
That's awesome.
So we'll be fairly quick. Let's try the clicker.
Hello, howdy.
Howdy. We were already vibing with you before we even got to talk to you. At first, I had grand intentions of doing all these languages across the slide, and then, like, can we get your slides by Friday? And I was like, oh, well, that's definitely not happening. So we're going to go with our native speak here in Austin, in Texas.
And just let me give a brief, disclaimer. I'm super nervous. It's my first time I've ever done something like this. But I appreciate all the love and energy I'm getting from you guys, and I really want you guys to give a big applause for yourself, because volunteers, you guys rock. Like, you make this possible, so please.
Yes.
Clap for yourselves.
So she already did half the job. A quick overview of who we are. We hail from the great District of Columbia, and proud to represent our team. We've got a lot of folks here today, including, of course, Joel and Colin and DJ Jim.
DJ Jim.
The world famous. So a little bit of photos, because I think one thing, just to show you how amazing this lady is and the reason why we're up here together, because she is really nervous. I am too, because we're volunteers. We're on the back. We're like making things happen, making sure people get coffee. We're not up on stage. That's Joel's job. So we're going to do our best. But what is amazing about Raquel is that she's someone that came in, and early days when we first started, it was just 3 of us. And we did that first event, which is that photo over there where you can see me on my phone in the back, just like texting, mass texting. And you guys know what I'm talking about, with the rest of the crew of like lines dwindling down. Is the coffee ready? Are people coming up? Is everybody ready? Are the slides ready? Blah, 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 blah. You know this. So cut to 3 years, our 3rd birthday. This is Raquel, who has not only been one of our most consistent volunteers, has now grown in and stepping up to be our director of volunteers.
Actually, no. I'm the volunteer wrangler.
Wrangler.
I wrangle.
Okay, there we go. And then, of course, front and center, these people in the middle are those amazing people that help us all the time. But just to take it back a bit, of course, we love our volunteers. Well, this is why we have, all right. There's a description. You guys will get this. This is, we're going from our PDF because we had some keynote woes. But we'll just go over quickly. We wanted to recognize there's a couple different types of volunteers, right? And we won't go through the full descriptions. But it's basically that core team, the day-to-day, a lot of our organizers plus, right? Folks like Raquel and I who are helping throughout the month get things started going. And then your event day, those folks that show up early.
And for the event day, that's where I make sure when you come in, I ask you, have you had your coffee? Did you get your donut? Did you get your bagel? I want to make sure that I feed you. I'm a mom. That's most important, to feed my baby. So when you come in, that's the first thing I give you a hug, and then I say, what do you need? You need some food? Let me feed you.
We'll get more into that. And then our skill-based volunteers. So we've generalized this as those people that could pay you a lot more than they do to take the photos, or charge you the videography, the DJ playlist. We're very lucky to have that with Jim and share with the global community. But they're those folks at social media, those folks that are a bit more skill-based and certainly do it because they love Creative Mornings, and they could charge you a lot more, but they don't, because of what this magical thing that is Creative Mornings has to offer. So with that, we wanted to organize ourselves around sort of just an if-then proposition around what we hope to be able to impart upon you as we head off to happy hour and jam out to some music.
Yes.
But this is a topic that is super important to us, so I'll let you take it from here.
Okay, so if we believe volunteers are the pulse of a Creative Mornings chapter, then we must give them purpose, keep them engaged, and show them the love. So a lot of times, when my event day people come in, they want to know, what do you want me to do? People don't want to just stand around. They want to feel like they're contributing a huge, or not even huge, but just contributing to the overall day, to the event. And so when you come in, I try and, once I've fed you, I want to make sure that I give you what your task is for that day. And people really enjoy the fact that they do registration, or that they kind of put out chairs. It's just a collaborative effort that comes with it. It's just really awesome.
So we're going to break it down for you guys a bit. 5 keys of volunteer magic, just 5 we have to get through, and then we're out of here. And we know that volunteers are a part of that magic. So I'll kick it off, and something that we had from the very beginning as we started to build our volunteer base was making a really specific effort when someone came forward, and we all know after every event there's always people like, oh my God, this was amazing, how can I get involved? And you're like, here's an email, we'd love to follow up with you, but there's that moment where you see like, are you really about this? And are they gonna show up for the next one? Are they gonna show up at 7 a.m. and that sort of thing? So there's a bit of a trade-off in that relationship, and Sally's talked about you get what you give, and I think that definitely applies to how you treat volunteers, how you bring them in, and then how you keep an ongoing dialogue with them. So something that I've always tried to understand from the get-go is asking, why do you wanna be a part of this? Are you trying to break into a new community? Have you just moved to the city? Is it about networking? And even if it is about networking, which we know this is so much more than that, but having that level set and understanding, maybe that is why, how can you maybe position them in different roles as a volunteer that give them that opportunity potentially? And then also skill enhancements. Is this someone that is a budding photographer? And so you actually think that you can put them into a couple different projects that would help them not only build out their portfolio, but of course contribute to the work that we're trying to do in and around the community. Mm-hmm. And then the second, I think this is such a huge one. We've learned a lot from the chapters prior to this. You know, at the first summit that I had the fortune of attending, learning from you all, even just last night at dinner when some of us randomly met up. But I think this is really, really key, is once you understand why they're there, this is where the value exchange starts to come in of, we gotta make it a commitment. And for some chapters, it is that formalized 2-year commitment. You're gonna be here and you're gonna come to at least, 6 events a month. For others, it's saying, I may not be at every event, but I will help you print out all the name tags or do things like that. So making sure that you really set the expectations that this is all of us are volunteers, for one, but that we formalize the role and expect a level of accountability. And that goes for us too. So when we ask people to be there at 7 a.m., we're there at 7 a.m. as well. Right. And making sure that value exchange is very deliberate and consistent from the start. We doing good?
There we go. Number 3, be explicit, define the task, don't apologize for it. So this is a big one for me. When you come in, I'm gonna let you know what you're here to do. That way hopefully you'll feel empowered with that, and I'm not gonna apologize for it. So if I tell you to go put out the trash, boom, just do it. It's that simple.
And we won't always make you to have trash duty. That's the other key part.
And that's a really good point. Like if you've done registration, I like to mix it up so that way somebody feels like when they come in, they might have a different role that they get to participate and contribute in that way. Because I think if you always helped out with food, you'd get bored with it. Or if you always, did trash, you get bored with it. So I want people to feel engaged and feel like they want to come back. And so we try and change up what people do during the day, during the events. 4, empower and trust. Allow ownership of roles. Trust volunteers to troubleshoot. Like, we have to trust you guys that you know what to do, right? Like, you're all creative, awesome adults. I'm not really that much of an adult, but whatever. And so basically, when I give somebody a task, or when I try to give somebody a task, I let them know that, like, hey, I trust your judgment. Like, you know what to do. So just hold your...
a big one that I learned actually from Raquel as we started working together. And one of the pieces of feedback that I got early in us growing our team and understanding we needed to delegate, which none of us are really good at doing at the beginning, and I see a lot of nodding heads, is she was like, Jackie, you're just always all over the place. I felt bad even asking you what I should do or if I could do this, and I thought it was the right thing to do, but I wasn't sure. So it was understanding how we built that right relationship as well, to give her the freedom to go and now, wrangle everyone, and it's such a tight running ship. It's amazing. But it's a really important one to also dialogue as you get into a relationship with some of your more consistent volunteers. Ask them, is this rewarding? How is this working for you? What am I doing every morning or every month that makes this helpful to you, and where can we improve? So a big one that Raquel helped me learn for sure, and I think is hugely critical. And number 5, recognize and celebrate. This is the best one, right? Yeah. This is the one we wish we could do more of again and again and again, and I think as organizers feel like we don't ever do enough of, just because it's so important. And Sally and I have had a lot of talk about this, just in the sense of how valuable all of us are volunteering, of course, but and we all have our reasons why. But making sure we find the right ways to recognize, I think tailoring that to your chapter is super important, right? We make sure we do a public shout out at all of our events. But even something as simple as giving them something to wear, we've evolved this. We went from having name tags to buttons, and now we think maybe it's t-shirts, because our events are getting to the size where we want to make sure they can physically stand out and be empowered to then also ask questions or direct people that are our venue hosts. And it's some of those little details that make a difference, that also empower them, but also celebrate that they showed up and they're making a bit of extra effort. And I think the last one that we have here.
I just want to say one thing about public recognition. So there's a theater in Silver Spring where I live. I live in Maryland, which is right outside of DC. And it's a really cool theater. It's the AFI Theater. And we're in a movie theater, and all of a sudden, Joel flashes up on the screen, thanks to all the volunteers, and I see my name. I'm an aspiring filmmaker, and I saw my name on a screen. My kid was there, and I almost lost it. I was like, yeah. So just that alone, and I took a picture, and I sent it to, like, everybody I know, and I was like, I didn't make it, y'all. I didn't make it. Like, that's not a film. It's just your name up there. But that was so huge that just that alone was recognition in and of itself, and it meant so much, and it meant so much that my kid was there, and he's like, that's why you get up in the morning. I'm like, that's why. So that's a huge one. It really is.
I love it. We all want to see our name in lights. Yes, I do. Unique access. So another great thing is that one of the earlier talks today talked about the ways that, how do we keep the Creative Morning spirit going, beyond the monthly event. And we're lucky that we start to connect with different community members, organizations that want to be a part of what we're doing. We want to help promote what they're doing. And this can't happen, every month or every week or be a promise, but what we do try to do is when we get special access to a screening, to a photography show, we always make sure to offer that up to our volunteer list first as much as possible, so that they at least see, one, it allows them to maybe build some other social outings outside of like the Creative Morning sphere, and work together. And of course, I think that's such a great additional aspect of Creative Mornings, is the way that people can connect together. And then I always hope, go forth and be brilliant, and whatever that will allow them to do. So any way you can give them those plus-up moments of feeling that they've been recognized and that we remember them is what it really comes down to. Mm-hmm. And then to close it, the major key. Yes, it comes back to this. Sally and I talked a little bit on the phone, and you all know when we got asked to do this, you never say no to the mothership. You never say no to Sally. And so we talked for a while and had an amazing conversation that, of course, is always life-affirming, too, when you talk to someone from HQ about what you're doing and what we're all getting after. But I think with the manifesto, we can do a better job of making sure our volunteers feel that they are owners of this as well, and that they embody it not just on event day, but they embody it out in the community all the time. Mm-hmm. And talking about that more, of course, we've talked a lot about and seen some amazing posters and translations of it, but really instilling this as something that we live and breathe every single day. And from that, Sally and I talked about just the fact that, is there a volunteer manifesto? And what would it be if we were to do it? And we talked a little bit more, and my last thing I said to Sally was I really think it just comes down to this. We're so lucky. We get to do this. We are so privileged to be a part of this amazing community and keep building it. So as volunteers, I think we remember that spirit. And we remember that we get to do this, so how do we get to make it better every single time? Yeah. And we'll leave you with that.
Yeah. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Jackie's going to dance, though. Go, Jackie.
That is a giddy-up moment if I've ever seen one. Come on. Thank y'all. Thank you. Okay.